Thank you very much. What a great day it is indeed. And on behalf of almost 400 excellent student athletes and a great coaching staff and administrative staff, we welcome you here today for this special occasion. We do have some special guests with us too, some you'll be hearing from shortly. But if I could take a moment first to introduce President Albrecht and our First Lady Joyce Albrecht. Thank you for being here and for your support. And let's talk a little bit about our team here. No stranger to intercollegiate athletics, VCBO Architects are the design consultants for this project. They also were involved in the Lob Complex here a few years ago. With them today, Derek Payne. Derek, where are you? Around? Back here somewhere? There he is, low-key, and Hebert. Thanks for being here. Also assisting in the design efforts are our very own John Fitch and Jordy Booth. Are you folks here today? Thank you for your support as well. Let's give them a hand. Then our first opportunity to work with Oakland Construction. I know Brett Oakland is here. Brett, thank you for being here, along with Jeremy Blank and Jared Francombe and others from Oakland Construction. The one thing that I've learned in my short time in working with Oakland is there's an absolute sense of urgency. We appreciate that very much because this building behind me here has to be enclosed by the first snowfall this fall. So they've got a sense of urgency for sure. Appreciate all their efforts thus far. Want to thank our development team. Jeremy, when you've met, Kent Stanley isn't here with us today, but for his work and the rest of our development team, as well as our Executive Associate Athletic Director who is day-to-day on this project, Jana Doggett is here with us. Jana, where are you? Back in the back. Thank you. So you'll be hearing from some of our coaches, some of our student athletes. One coach in particular that isn't here is Stu Morrill. Now, right now, Stu is in Plentywood, Montana, up by the Canadian North Dakota border. And if any of you know anything about Plentywood, Montana, you know that he's not recruiting unless he's going after livestock right now. But he actually does have family commitments, both a 60th wedding anniversary that he's attending as well as a wedding of his niece. And he did reach out to both of our donors today, but he also sent this statement along. If you would allow me to read a statement from Stu Morrill. Family commitments keep me away from today's groundbreaking for the Wayne Estes Center. However, even though I'm not there, I have a huge smile on my face because with this building, we take a giant step forward for multiple programs at Utah State. I want to thank Jim and Carol Lobb and also Blake Kirby for their major donations that made this dream a reality. Practice gyms are a must in today's Division I basketball, especially at the Mountain West level. From a recruiting of players and development of players and prospective players, you're losing ground if you don't meet this need. Plus, basketball is getting a suite of new offices in the Wayne Estes Center, and after 15 years at Utah State, Stu Morrill gets a window. Happy days, he ends his statement with. And you'll hear from other coaches and what this initiative means in moving our athletic program forward. But let me talk to you about three things: the need, what's in the building very quickly, and the name. The need is obvious, and I think one of the illustrations is here about 3-4 years ago, I was sitting in my office window right here in the corner of the Spectrum, looking out, seeing our student athletes, our basketball student athletes, pile in a van. And it seemed odd to me at the time because there weren't no competitions at that point. I went down and I asked them where they were heading. They're going over to Logan High School to practice because there wasn't any gym space available. The need is evident, and in fact, when you think about our scheduling challenges with the court space we have, it also interrupts our class schedules for our student athletes. So this this opportunity to add this building brings with it an opportunity to better deliver our promise to our student athlete, if you will. Recruitability, if that's a word. This is going to be an outstanding opportunity to recruit prospective student athletes because of the services it provides and, yes, indeed, the wow factor it will have. And certainly competitive venue for volleyball, 1,400 seats and a home court advantage, absolutely, for our women's championship volleyball team. The building consists of about 32,000 square feet, 2 levels. The actual entrance will be here, and if you haven't seen the renderings, please visit those. They're in the back as prior to your leaving. I had mentioned 1,400 seats, including chairback seats and end court seating. 1 full volleyball court for competition, 2 full basketball courts for practice, locker rooms for volleyball, film rooms, video offices for all sports, training room, an in-season strength and conditioning center, and then as this is a competitive facility, ticketing and concessions, restrooms, and absolutely a lobby area. And throughout this building you'll see us celebrate not only the history of Wayne Estes, but the history and heritage of our great basketball tradition and volleyball tradition here at Utah State University. The name, the Wayne Estes Center. Shortly after Jim and Carol had made a commitment, Jim was pondering the name of the building. He called and he asked me how I'd feel about naming the building the Wayne Estes Center. I told him I felt like crying, and I meant that. When you think about, frankly, the largest gift that's ever been provided to athletic department here at Utah State, and celebrating one of the greatest Aggies that has ever lived, whose career was cut short on that tragic night, February 8th, 1965. What an unbelievable gesture. And I know all of you are so excited and proud of the naming of this facility. At this point, let me take the opportunity now to introduce to you this university's leader. Does an outstanding job for all of us, also serves as one of just 18 members of the Division I NCAA Board of Directors. He's just been a wonderful leader and partner. Let's welcome President Stan Albrecht.
I was just looking through the trees to see if I could see the Merlin Olsen statue. You can't quite see it from here, but you know where it is. And to have our football facility now with Merlin Olsen's name on, and our basketball facility with Wayne Estes' name on, the 2 most illustrious names in the history of athletics at Utah State University. What a great honor. And Jim, thanks for your willingness to put Wayne's name on the building. Today I was sitting in Mountain West President's Council meetings in Colorado Springs, and sitting around that table gave me the opportunity to reflect again on just how far we have come over a relatively short period of time. To go from a point where we were in a conference that was struggling, that probably didn't have survivability, at least in terms of the football part of the operation, not knowing where we were going, what we were doing, and now to be sitting here today with this incredible groundbreaking. We've already broken ground, I think, but we still call it a groundbreaking. This incredible event where we take another very, very significant step forward in the history of Utah State University athletics. As I sat around that table with a group of fellow presidents and reflected on the progress that has been made over what really is a relatively short period of time, both in terms of facilities, in terms of entering a new conference, in terms of success of our athletic programs from really one end to the other. And so I just want to make a special shout out to each of you and thank each of you for the critically important roles that you've played in making this happen. Special thanks to our athletic director, Scott Barnes. As I sit in NCAA meetings and deal with some of the issues that face intercollegiate athletics and some of the challenges facing intercollegiate athletics, I'm reminded that we have the best athletic director in the country. And the progress that we've made would not have occurred without the visionary leadership that Scott has provided. And so, Scott, a special thanks from me to you for that, from all of us to you for that, for the great things that you have done. I'm going to embarrass Jim for just a minute as I introduce him. you probably read in the paper that Jim talked about having two heroes as he was growing up, Mickey Mantle and Wayne Estes. And Jim, I'll forgive you the first. I wish I could make a Dodger out of him. I always thought that when the movie 42 came out, and we sort of relived the Jackie Robinson era, that maybe we'd convert him over a little bit. But I'll forgive you the first, but say amen for the second. Again, what an amazing gesture. And Wayne Estes was a hero to Jim, but a hero to many, many others. We all know that we would not be standing here today without the amazing commitment, loyalty, the role that Jim and Carol have played in moving us forward, and never asking anything in return. I have just finished reading a book that's entitled Give and Take, and it's a fascinating study of givers and takers in this life, and it talks about lots of applications of givers and takers in all of the roles of life that you and I are engaged in. But as I've read that book, there have been several points in time when I was reading chapters on givers that I thought Jim Lobb's photo should be at the top of the page. Again, the loyalty, the commitment to this institution has been pretty amazing. At one point, Jim, I don't know when this was, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, as we were dealing with some of the challenges, I asked Jim, good times and bad, if there had ever been a moment when he was ready to give up and maybe walk away from us. And in his quiet kind of way, he said, "Nah, I would never do that." And I think we all know that he would never do that. And so, Jim, I hope as we celebrate this new facility, as we do this groundbreaking, as we build this incredible new facility for our student athletes, that maybe, at least in small part, it's a bit of payback time. So thank you so much. Jim, I'm going to give you a shovel. Now, you know how to use a shovel?
Craig was advising me about
All right. There's some indication that this shovel does get some use, but aren't we happy?
I'm supposed to be up here now. I guess so, but it's an exciting day. As of course President Albrecht and Scott Barnes are both tough acts to follow because they're both so eloquent and they're such great speakers. But as I'm sitting here, I'm reminded of about 6 or 7 years ago when we had the dedication of the end zone facility, and I jokingly made the comment at the time that Angie's restaurant had become the most expensive restaurant I've ever eaten at, because every time I got a call to meet the president or an athletic director at Angie's, it was expensive. But I want to officially say that Herm's Inn has now become the most expensive restaurant I've ever eaten at. But anyway, thank you to Scott and President Albrecht. It's Carol's and my honor to be part of this project. It's something that I've had in the back of my mind for quite some time on how to bring back Wayne Estes' memory, and this seemed like the fitting time to do it. I want to thank Blake Kirby and his family for stepping up and joining the project and jumping and assisting and putting your name to it. Look forward to working with you and having your project on here. Scott mentioned VCBO and what a great teammate they are as far as architects. I'm proud to also have them I've got to take a little when I was notified that Oakland Construction was going to be part of this project, that really got me excited. Many of you know, but probably a lot of you don't know, that Oakland Construction, like Cache Valley Electric, close to 100 years old. Both have got the original family name. Both have got the 4 generations. My grandfather was first associated with Oakland Construction with Brett's great-grandfather. And my father and Brett's grandfather were very close. And the tradition has continued as I have a close relationship with this Oakland team. And Oakland is a great company. They're not only a great company, but they're one of the premier construction companies in the entire state, and in the entire country, with offices all throughout the West, and they're known throughout the country. And we have literally done maybe hundreds of projects with Oakland, so I know the kind of quality product that we're going to get on this building right here. Now, Wayne Estes, let me just we touched a little bit about it and how his name became attached to this project, but I saw Scott Parrish and Hal Hale, which it was special to see them because they're former teammates. And I remember when I used to watch Estes, I remember these guys out on the floor. But as Scott said, you know, I wanted to attach Estes's name to this building if I could, so I made that suggestion, and Scott was excited to do it. But I know there'll be plenty of time down the road when we go into more detail about Estes's memory and what he meant. But as I said, you know, he was my idol. I was 14 or 15 years. I was 15 years old when he died, and my room was covered with his pictures. And it was, you know, 50 years later, I still get emotional thinking about it. But anyway, you know, Estes, to a young kid, he epitomized everything a role model should be. These guys would know better than me, but there may have been times during his basketball career when he wasn't the best athlete out on the floor, but there was never a time that he wasn't the best basketball player on the floor. He worked hard. He was a great teammate, and he was a great role model for kids of my generation. And it's just fitting to be able to put his name on this project. So, Scott, President Albrook, and everybody, thanks for coming. And Carol, is there anything you want to add? I'm actually going to give this shovel to Carol when I get home, but anyway, thank you very much, and it's a great afternoon. I appreciate everybody for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Carol, again. Jim had mentioned Blake Kirby a little earlier. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Blake, and with all sincerity, I say this, that this project does not move forward, Blake, without your gift and the timing of your gift, and how important it is that we have somebody like you come alongside Jim and Carol's gift to move this forward. Greatly appreciated. Blake is a 1991 graduate of Utah State University, served in many capacities, really entrenched in Aggie athletics most of his life. His parents raised him right. And it included there some work in the Big Blue board, and most recently serves on the University Foundation board as well as the National Aggie Athletic Advisory Board. He is as passionate an Aggie as you'll ever find, a great basketball fan and a great fan of athletics here. He stepped up and rolled his sleeves up throughout his career, and most recently with this gift again. As we think about moving this project forward, and there is work to do, we could not have started this project without Blake's gift. Please give a warm welcome to Blake Kirby. You get the shovel too. You know what to do with that?
This is kind of fun. I decided everything that I prepared is out the window. Jim, first of all, there's a bit of irony here for me because Scott and Kent Stanley have been talking to me for a year or two about being involved in a project. And so I said, okay, when the right project comes along that makes sense for my family, let's take a look at it. And my father, Lynn Kirby, many of you know, because he's one of the most fanatic basketball fans in the spectrum. In fact, I think he wanted Wild Bill's job when that kid graduated. I was like, Dad, you're a little old. Anyway, 27-year career at Utah State. And so, whenever I could talk him into it, he would drag me to work. And I had this little autograph book. And I remember getting Louis Giamona's signature autograph, and then Rick Paris. I wanted to be Rick Paris, but I was the skinniest kid at school, so soon I gravitated to basketball. And my father attended the games when Wayne played, and attended the game, which was his last game. And I still remember that story. And and always made an impression. And to say that Utah State and Utah State athletics didn't make a big difference in my life is a huge understatement. So Scott and Kent were smart enough. I didn't go to Angie's. I've been to Herm's a few times. But they flew to San Diego a few times. They knew they had to get Bailey's sign off, my daughter Bailey, who is about as fanatic as Lynn is when it comes to basketball. And my fiance, who's not a Utah State graduate, saying, what? What is this all about? So we're trying to convert her, but they did a great job. And so what an amazing institution Utah State is. And my final thought is that I'm fortunate through our business. Craig Rupp, one of my business partners, we deal with the College of Engineering extensively, the College of Business, and the College of Education. And there are needs everywhere. And so as I talked to the athletic department, I'm like, yeah, we could do this, or I could do something else there. And then I joined Scott's board. And the emphasis that he and the leadership team put on academics for our athletes was shocking to me and was really inspiring. And so when Utah State talks about student athletes, there's a reason student comes first. And whether you know this or not, our athletes are among some of the leaders in the country with respect to academic performance. So I'm very grateful to be able to participate in a small way, provide a resource for those student athletes, for our great coaches in all sports, because recruiting in the Mountain West, I know, is going to be tough. So the bar's getting raised. We all recognize that. So thank you, President. Thank you, Scott. And thanks, Jim. And all of you.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll have the opportunity to hear from two speakers. These speakers will represent all of our student athletes as well as our coaches. And Coach Finkbeiner, if you don't know Jerry Finkbeiner, his philosophy is to run, gun, and have fun. And we're excited for this second season coming up this fall of Coach Finkbeiner being at the helm of our women's basketball program. And hopefully this new facility can help his girls run faster and have a lot more fun. Before we hear from Coach Finkbeiner, though, we will hear from Ellie Brainerd. Ellie is a sophomore volleyball student athlete from Westlake High School in Saratoga Springs, Utah. As a freshman, she racked up quite a bit of accolades. She was second team All-WAC. She was a member of the All-WAC freshman team, and she also won the Award of WAC Freshman of the Year. Please join me in welcoming Ellie Brainerd.
It is an honor to represent the 400-plus student athletes here at Utah State University, specifically the men's and women's basketball teams, as well as my teammates on the volleyball team. My very first unofficial visit was here to Utah State. I had no idea what I was doing, and I probably said a total of 10 words to Grayson the entire time my mom and I were up here. Little did I know that this first visit would have such an influence on me. Following my trip up to Logan, I went on other visits, lots of schools, but my mind kept wandering back to Utah State. I was comparing facilities, coaching staff, future teammates, and campuses. I guess you could say I had the Aggies on my mind. And from that day forward, they have never left. Sometime later, I had made the decision that I wanted to play for Utah State. However, I couldn't just call Grayson and tell him because that would be way too boring. So I left school early, packed my parents and 3 siblings in the minivan, and made a 2-hour drive to Logan. We stopped and got everyone some sort of Aggie apparel and headed to the coach's offices, where Grayson was nowhere to be found.
Tell him why.
He was sick that day and had gone home early. So Talby called him and told him that he needed to come back over to the offices. Now at this point, I just felt kind of stupid. But needless to say, I handed him a jar full of dum-dums, as well as a paper that read, "There's no way I'm a dum-dum and would choose the wrong hue, because I'm filled with Aggie spirit and I bleed Aggie blue." Playing in the Spectrum for the first time was such an amazing experience and continues to be each time I step foot on the court. The huge arena, combined with the atmosphere that the fans create, gives me a rush of adrenaline like no other. The past few years, the basketball and volleyball teams have dominated the floor. Having this new building will help us keep the winning tradition alive. The Wayne Estes Center is going to be a huge benefit to the athletics department and our transition into the Mountain West Conference. The building will not only be used for the current members of the basketball and volleyball teams, but for the future development and success of these 3 programs. In closing, I want to thank the donors that helped make this possible, as well as those that had the vision for this magnificent project. Thank you.
Well, greetings this morning. This is a great day to be an Aggie, isn't it? Especially if you're a basketball coach or a volleyball coach. That's for sure. I was just sitting here listening to our speakers and want to echo some of the thoughts, but just thinking that a big part of my life is going to be back here in the next 5-7 years, and I'm really looking forward to it from the recruiting standpoint, from the competitive standpoint, and just the continued growth of Utah State athletics. I'm kind of the new kid on the block. I've just completed 1 year of tenure here, and 2 things really stand out to me about Aggie spirit. That I was asked the other night at the Aggie Caravan in Brigham City what stood out most about our delivery and our recruits, and what do we try to impress upon, and it's, to me, it's the Aggie spirit. And I think 2 things come out today that continue to impress me. One is the vision of our administration, not only for the academics on campus, the research on campus, but the growth of athletics on campus. And the second thing, which is really a close second, maybe even a tie, is the giving spirit of Aggies. The giving spirit is very impressive from our alumni to just the supporters. And I don't know a whole lot of faces here yet. I'm beginning to kind of get some feel of friendly faces and Aggies here, but I know the Lobb family and how much you've given through the years is just impressive. I think sometimes it's hard for me to donate to the Boy Scouts on my doorstep and give a certain amount to my church, but I'm amazed when you have people that have been blessed with gifts that in turn give gifts away. It's just quite a deal. The Kirby family, haven't met you yet, but appreciate definitely. I'll be seeing the Kirby court down here every day coming to work. But this will be an impressive, just kind of link in our story of Aggie basketball. I know Coach Morrill in Montana right now, but listen to his words, just echo his words about how much this is going to mean to us for the time spent with our athletes, for getting athletes to come here to Utah State. This is a big deal for basketball coaches. This is a big deal for future basketball players here at Utah State. I'll leave you with one really still very impressed memory of mine when I was interviewing for the job last year. And part of my interview is with the girls on the team. And there's about 10 of them there. It's scheduled for about a half an hour. It lasted for about an hour and a half. But I asked them, why did you choose Utah State? And every one of them, 100% of them said, I love the university. And I've never been an employee or a coach at a school, at a high school level or a college level, where it's 100% by the athletes. Just, I love this university. And so that's the Aggie spirit. Appreciate Dr. Albrecht, your leadership, just to continue to Aggie spirit that just kind of goes through the veins of this place. And we're sure looking forward to the future. Thank you.
2,
Out front.
3.
We have a casualty over here. It's on your headset.